Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Henry Wu of Yeoman's Growth Capital. Henry, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Saul. Thanks for the invite.
Great. So what was your background before investing in early stage companies?
So prior to me joining YGC, I was at a family office that's exclusively investing in the blockchain companies. And prior to that, I spent about 2.5 years working with mostly venture-backed companies at Facebook, helping them grow their business, their revenue. Many of them are direct-to-consumer channels via Facebook and assets of Facebook, such as Instagram and Messenger.
Well, that's great. So what do you find exciting right now?
So for our focus at YGC, it stands for Yeoman's Growth Capital. What we've done is we've spun out of the family office to create a venture studio that helps enterprises scale their blockchain initiatives. And we invest in ventures to capture these opportunities.
Well, great. Sounds like a good opportunity for the venture studio model. And so for the investors out there, what's your advice for them who are investing in startups in the enterprise blockchain sector?
Yeah, for us, we believe we're in the forefront of this by partnering with IBM. We've signed NDAs and we have a lot of insights into what's actually working behind the scenes and what's not working as well. So a lot of the sort of the PR that you've seen so far in the last few years, they have all progressed to a point where we can see what has worked and what hasn't. And the majority of the time, the bottleneck has been less on the technology side, but more or less on getting the adoption, getting the executive buy-in for this emerging technology and incorporating that into production and within their day-to-day operations.
What about the startups who are raising funding in this sector? What would you advise them on?
For us, what we're looking for is, as I mentioned, the bottlenecks have been a lot of the sales and operations side and less on the tech side. And many of the tech side has been built up by the open source, built up through the uprising of the cryptocurrencies and blockchain in the last few years. So we truly believe that some of the tech is ready to be implemented today. Some are superior to that has come previously. And we're focused on understanding what their relationship is with the enterprises and who are some of their anchor customers. Those are the things that we look for, as well as that those are the opportunities that we're tackling. We're moving into a number of discussions with IBM to invest in ventures, a venture studio, to capture a number of large industry consortia, digital exchanges. For example, the contingent labor is one, supply chain is one. We also are in talks with healthcare, energy, and utilities as well.
So the blockchain world is evolving very rapidly. It changes year over year, almost in an upheaval manner. How do you see the industry evolving today with the enterprise blockchain in particular?
So during my time at the family office for about 1.5 years or so, it was by far the craziest time for the blockchain industry as a whole. As we saw Bitcoin hitting the highs of 20,000, we see a lot of illegal activities as well as new innovations that has risen during that period of time. What we've seen across the board was that the valuations are extremely high, and many of the technologists were overpromising the impact that their underlying foundation or the platform will bring. And now they're facing a lot of these sort of overpromising milestones that they have to fulfill with adoption and with transaction volume that could on their platform that will, in result, hopefully appreciate their token value indirectly through their token economics model or whatever they've determined. So what we see is there will be a new wave of focus on high transaction volume and adoption of these foundations and platforms that they've built over the last few years. And a lot of that will be driven by enterprise motivations and demand. And some will be more consumer facing, such as gaming. And we have taken the enterprise side as our expertise, and our partners and relationships have been mostly built on the enterprise side. So we hope that with our work, we can make blockchain industry more credible and more trusted.
Well, great. So you talked about your investment thesis a little earlier, but could you be a little bit more specific about what exactly are the criteria you look for in startups coming in? Do they have to have a platform up and running? Do they have to have revenue? How far along do they have to be before it gets on your radar?
Happy to. So for us, we're very much in the pre-seed and C stage. And in many ways, we're looking for entrepreneurs, and we're looking for folks who are joining us with open mind and with an anchor enterprise that's engaging with them to build out this product. For us, we were very fortunate to be partnered with IBM, and a lot of their initiatives has been engaging with their own clients to kick off all these blockchain initiatives. And so they have signed contracts, and they have clients paying for proof of concepts, and many of them have moved past to the minimum viable product and ready for production. And we are fortunate to be in a position that we can serve as a capital provider to move into these projects when IBM needs help to move forward into production and to bring entrepreneurs and technologists to launch a venture that could potentially assist or take over some of these projects' progress.
And do you have a couple of startup examples that fit that thesis that you can talk about?
Yeah, happy to. So one of the consortia that IBM is working on is more in the contractor management space. So what we're planning to do is we're planning to build the identity management solution with Hyperledger in the future, explore possibilities of using potentially a hybrid blockchain approach with public blockchain protocols or other technologies that we can incorporate to make the product better. So we're in the scoping stage for this identity project. It's in the oil and gas industry. And that's one project that we have funding secured and invested. And we have a team here in Austin that are building this out. And we have a second and third venture out of the venture studio that's being launched as we speak. The second one will be focused on electronics, OEM, supply chain initiatives. It will be a supply chain management solution.
Great. So for the startup in the blockchain enterprise space, what are the challenges they face? Is there regulatory challenges, market, or technical challenges that really hold them back?
So for our thesis, we believe that a lot of the data will live in private blockchain or private databases connected to a blockchain in the future. Not all data needs to migrate towards public blockchain, just like not all data will be floating around on the internet. So what we're trying to architect is a solution where how do we have a permissioned network where we can migrate data from private to public and allow an entire industry to share with each other. So that we will be touching a lot of data management and privacy and getting the buy-in from executives to share non-competitive data that are useful for each other. And that will be the most difficult job that we have in these ventures. Aside from that, in the future, we're exploring ways where we can incorporate public blockchain into the mix, which involves tokens. And although we'll be managing these tokens and essentially prepaid credits of software on behalf of enterprises, that process, we hope that the U.S. government would have more regulatory clarity to ease concerns for enterprises and CIOs to utilize some of this tech that has evolved and that has been launched in the last few years. That's better than what we have today.
So you see a lot of different subsectors and applications out there. If you had to pick two or three as really hot opportunities, which ones would you choose for this space?
We've been hearing identity and supply chain quite often, and these are quite industry specific. There was a company that we were just looking at that's in the mining industry, working with IBM built a consortium, and they're doing a lot of the trade finance and supply chain for mining operations and metals trading. So that's quite interesting because a lot of the tech that they've built could possibly be migrated over to other industries, but likely it's going to stay the strongest within the industry that it was started with, because of these supply chain operations are so complicated. The user flows are extremely delicate. So we believe that there will be number of identity solutions, number of supply chain solutions, and majority of the blockchain applications will be around or touching one of these two areas. And they actually both touch each other as well. And to have identity, to track supply chain operations. So we hope to build a number of complementary solutions with enterprise blockchain that could be helping each other as a cohort one of Venture Studio. And we plan to launch 4 to 6 ventures by the end of the year this year.
Well, that's great. Well, in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
For us, we're laser focused on the enterprise blockchain side and specifically working with Fortune 500, at times Fortune 50. And in many, many ways, we have engaged with through IBM, some of the largest enterprises in the world. And, we're constantly thinking about what's in Europe and what's in Asia as well, because the blockchain initiatives are kicking off all over the map at the moment. So if there's any investors or any engineers or product folks that are interested in joining us on this journey through our ventures, we'll be more than happy to welcome them joining us, and we'd love to get to know them more. But a lot of these opportunities are, as I mentioned, these ventures, each of these ventures under IBM's initiatives could be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, just because IBM is launching these initiatives with the goal of really affecting the bottom lines of IBM, which has to be in the millions of revenue. So we're really excited about this opportunity to work with enterprises, and all the enterprises are excited to learn more. The sentiment has changed since 2017. So we hope this is a turning point for enterprise blockchain and the blockchain industry. And we hope that blockchain unlocks a lot of the private data that allow us to implement more machine learning and AI initiatives in the future, because that data is going to feed the loop of all the progress in AI. And that's really our focus. We're kind of laying down the foundation for how enterprises work with each other within the industry through using blockchain.
Well, it's great to see these solutions coming to market. So how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch with me is through my email. henry@ygc.capital is my email. And otherwise, you can search for Henry Liu on LinkedIn, and that should come up. And as I mentioned, I used to work at Facebook, so you can likely see that on my profile. But yeah, other than that, we've been heads down this summer building ventures and building companies and investing in companies in YGC. We will be starting our sort of speaking engagements, later this year in Q4. So hopefully we'll see you in San Francisco or Atlanta or even London. A few conferences are coming up.
Well, great. We'll hope to see you there. Thanks so much for taking time, and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, all. Hope to see you in person in Austin.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.